Good afternoon and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 2nd of May. It is Friday. We do have a 12-game main slate ahead of us this evening. We do not have any weather to worry about on the main slate. In fact, there's a number of places that are actually better for offense, especially in the first half of the slate. The later games, probably a little better set up for pitching. This is a first look video at the options that we do have, intended to try to cut down our pool prior to us digging in and trying to finalize what our pool is. To give you an idea, we do have 24 starting pitchers on this slate. I actually have whittled it down to 16 that I've written down as my first walkthrough. So we've already cut a third of the pool out, and now I will talk mostly about those 16 here to get an idea of what we're looking at, what we're looking for, etc. I will be using DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half, as you do not have to be as creative. Pricing isn't as tight. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher over there. But let's just jump right in to this 12-gamer. Pretty sizable slate on a Friday. But obviously some Fridays we actually get 14-game slates, with just the Cubs game being early. So I guess 12 gamers probably a little less than what we're going to see going forward. It's a Kansas City-Baltimore game. Not going to be interested in pitching. Somebody could have asked me about Waka because Baltimore has struggled enough. He's coming off of his best start of the year. That's the only start he's had where you've maybe needed his performance. He's topped out at 93 pitches through 6 starts, so not a ton. Obviously, great environment for hitters in this ballpark. Wind slightly blowing out, nearly 80 degrees. So we are going to see places start to warm up at this point. I just don't think we need to rely on Michael Waka on a 12-game slate. Tampa Bay and the Yankees. Now, I did write down both these pitchers. I will admit that I'm going to guess that Pepio probably ends up not in my pool. His home run issues can come into play against a team like the Yankees, who did hit 2 home runs against him roughly 2 weeks ago. He's a guy that does have some ability, 7+ strikeouts in half of his starts. But again, home run balls, some walks, just not really a spot that I want to rely on him in this particular ballpark. Very little wind blowing in, so it's business as usual, I guess, in this spot for the Yankee bats. On the other side, Max Fried, definitely in play for me. He's plus 115 to earn the W, which is 4th best on this particular slate. K-prop of 5.5, basically a pick'em. By the looks of it, he's roughly the 5th best K-prop on the slate, which is pretty solid. The Yankees are minus 258 favorites. Just a pretty solid spot. He did shut down this Tampa Bay squad. Didn't pick up any strikeouts in that performance, which is a little annoying. But he's been phenomenal for the Yankees so far this season. I'm going to go back there. I like left-handed pitching against Tampa Bay. And now you take them away from home, where I believe their numbers have been pretty bad overall. I'm going to try to bring that up on my other monitor here quick. I don't remember for sure, but I know they started out hot at home. Not so great on the road. Yeah, team ISO of 122 on the road. Not all that great. Just 2 people on their active roster right now with ISOs over 154 on the road on the season, or 167, I guess. Team has just 6 home runs in 9 road games. 2 of those being Brandon Lau, who might not even be in the lineup against Max Fried. Just a great spot. I will continue to attack Tampa Bay with left-handed pitchers. We just did that with a pitcher from Kansas City who was making his debut and that worked out pretty well for us. So we're going to go back with a guy like Max Fried, who is obviously much stronger than a 25 or 26-year-old rookie making his debut. Bassett versus Logan Allen. Logan Allen we've used a couple times this year. As weird as it is to say that, he's had a couple strong starts. Baltimore, at Pittsburgh. Not going to be using him here. Toronto just doesn't strike out enough for me. While the Toronto offense is kind of weak enough against left-handed pitching, but I just don't think that he offers the upside we need on a 12-gamer. Chris Bassett's throwing the ball extremely well. He's plus 125 to earn the W, which is just slightly behind Max Fried. His K-Prop's 5.5 with juice on the under, so he's just behind Max Fried in that regard as well. Last two starts have not been great. They have been on the road. I just like the spot for him pitching at home. I'm not sure what his numbers were like last year at home, but as you can see, 2 starts this year. Just 1 run allowed, 17 strikeouts. Just ridiculous numbers that aren't going to keep up. It's not like he's holding guys to a ridiculously low batting average. So he's kind of getting a little lucky as far as batting average, balls in play, runners in scoring position, that sort of thing. But with that said, that doesn't mean his numbers have to come crashing back down to earth in this particular matchup. Cleveland generally isn't a huge K team, so that might limit his upside, but a 5.5 K prop is pretty strong. Definitely a number I look for is anything 5.5 and up. Joe Ryan versus Brian Bayo. I did write both these names down. His game total is 9, juice on the under, but Joe Ryan plus 165 during the W, 6.5 Ks with juice on the over. A very strong number against a Boston team that does strike out. They are a dangerous offense, but there are plenty of strikeouts to be had in this lineup. It's a volatile spot for Joe Ryan. He's given up more power, I believe, to right-handed bats in his major league career, so that might help him a little bit. But with the way that Alex Bregman's swinging it, that's a dangerous spot. Add in Duran, Devers, Abreu, all pretty warm at the plate. It could be a tough spot, but there's just so much upside with Joe Ryan in this matchup because of the K upside. He's coming off of an 11K performance, had 8 Ks 3 starts ago, showcasing plenty of upside. So I have to be interested here. Bayo hasn't really shown any upside. A lot of walks, not many Ks, a home run in each start so far. He did make my initial write-down list, but his K-Prop's just at 4.5, and it's a pick'em. Plus 205 to earn the W. I think he's somebody that's going to end up being eliminated from my pool the more that we dig into the matchups, even though the overall Minnesota lineup has been somewhat weak. This is a spot to talk about Gunnar Hoglund. Min-priced, 25-year-old, roughly. He might be 26, 25-year-old, making his major league debut. Seems like a very similar situation to Coleman from Kansas City, who we relied on. Hoglund hasn't been as strong of a K guy in the minor leagues as a guy like Coleman was, but Hoglund's AAA performance has been in Las Vegas, which is in the PCL, which is an extreme offensive environment, and he's more than held his own this season. Had a little rough year last year. He's a fly ball pitcher, but he hasn't been destroyed by home runs in the minor leagues. So that's an interesting thing. He's not a huge K guy, but this is a guy that has a ton of talent. Was drafted in the first round twice in the MLB draft. To tell you what Major League Baseball has thought of him over the years. Very strong name. I'm intrigued, especially because it's against the Marlins. Hoglund doesn't really have any props yet, so I keep refreshing, hoping to see some to get an idea of what we can expect. But the A's are minus 142 road favorites. It is weird to see a 9.5 game total. Juice is on the under, but 9.5 in Miami seems like, I mean, that's got to compare something to like a 12.5, 13 run game total in Coors, just to give you an idea. But Hoglund's certainly going to be in play for me. Yamamoto is the only one in this game that's going to be in play for me. Grant Holmes obviously been steady, but Yamamoto's extreme ground ball rates with K upside, obviously 9+ strikeouts in 3 out of the last 5 starts. They've allowed him to bypass the 100 pitch mark a couple of times, 7 innings. He just has plenty of upside. He's minus 180 favorite. Game total is 9 with juice on the under. But he has one of the better K props at 5.5 with juice on the over. I think there's only 3 higher than him. So waiting to see what his win odds are. But still, I like Yamamoto because this Atlanta offense can struggle a bit. They can strike out as well. They are a dangerous team. But I think Yamamoto has plenty of upside. Framber Valdez definitely making the pool because we're just going to keep picking on the White Sox. Now, they did make it rough on some mediocre Milwaukee pitching, but I would consider Framber Valdez to be a better pitcher than those guys. He's had some rough starts, there's no doubt about it, but he is minus 250 favorite. The Astros are the 3rd highest favorite on the slate. He's plus 100 to earn the W, which is tied with Tariq Skubal as the best option on the slate for that. And his K-prop sitting at 5.5. It's basically a pick'em. So his K-prop's basically the same as Max Fried and Brian Wu and Sonny Gray on this slate. Can allow some walks and some base runners, so he's just not a huge clean inning guy. But it's just such a great matchup that I think we have to roll with Framber Valdez. And I do expect him to be one of the highest owned. As you see, our most recent update has him at 22.5%, which is the 3rd highest pitcher on this slate. Going to the next one, Wu and Leiter. Both guys made my initial jot down list. I'm not sure I'm going to go to Leiter. The Seattle offense has been strong. He wasn't the greatest in his return from the IL in his last start. I think there's some rust to shake off, etc. He wasn't very good last year either, so I kind of want to see more out of him before I start relying on him. His outs prop's just 14.5 with juice on the over. K-prop 4.5, juice on the over as well. Game total is just 8.5 and juice to the under in this one. But I think I want to play the wait and see with Jack Leiter in his return. Brian Wu, somebody that's been pitching extremely well. Strikeouts have been decent. Keeping the ball in the ballpark. The walks have been down. I think he's viable enough. And we did just see the Texas lineup struggle for multiple days against the A's, even in their home ballpark. Rules K-prop, like I mentioned earlier, 5.5, basically a pick'em. Seattle is a minus 115 favorite, so I think he's the play in this one over Leiter. Cubs and Brewers, I did jot down Ben Brown, but I have a feeling he's not going to make it. Biggest reason he made it is because he's throwing the ball well on the road, and Milwaukee bats have gone pretty cold recently. So there's plenty of upside. He absolutely dominated the Dodgers. He's not going to rack up a ton of Ks, 5 in almost every start, but 5 or 6 Ks is solid. His K-prop's at 5.5 with juice on the under. He has plus 180 to earn the W. This game does have a total of 9 with juice on the under. The Mets Cardinals, we get Sonny Gray and Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes K-prop at 4.5 is a pick'em. Sonny Gray's at 5.5 is a pick'em. Clay Holmes plus 185 to earn the W. Sonny Gray plus 190. Clay Holmes has been steady and really strong. I don't really love the K matchup for him, so he may not make my final pool, but he's in consideration. He already faced St. Louis once, shut them down. Was a win away from 24 fantasy points, which is a solid performance. Sonny Gray was solid against the Mets, not great. Might not make the pool either, to be honest. The Mets are minus 115 favorites, but the reason both of them are here is game total just 7.5 in this one, so that really puts them into play. We'll talk about the last 2 games quickly, just because I think it's very clear to me. I mean, these are the top 2 GPP plays. Skubal, the safest option on the slate. Coming off of an 11 strikeout performance, taking on the Angels without Mike Trout. 7.5 K-prop is a pick'em. He's plus 100 to earn the W. Just an elite spot. Minus 192 favorites. Robbie Ray, super volatile, but taking on the Colorado squad that we like to pick on. Number 1 K-prop on the slate at 7.5 with juice on the over. Plus 105 to earn the W. So a lot of exposure is going to come in these last 2 games. But there we have it. There's a first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. Link will be in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.